Crying for justice. The villagers them say them need some love. Can't find justice, so another one gone in memory of. Well, I must be angry and frustrated because of you, my sister, never make it. Well, one study your income, so now look what's the outcome. Just another idiot, give a rape a man a cat to work.
So, welcome to InspireTT, yet another episode. We're here in Carenage at the recreational ground. We have a special guest today. Someone who you all know in the music business, in the gospel music business, and someone who has been advocating for youth and youth in Christ. And we have none other than Carenage's very own Jaron Nurse. Jaron, it's a pleasure to have you.
Blessings, man. Thanks for passing through and everything too. Thanks for having me.
So, Jaron, we know you as a musician, and I know the question that people ask, what is inspiring about Jaron? But tell us a bit about your story, because I know you've told your story via testimony, and tell me a bit of where Jaron started.
And I love to tell people, Jaron is a simple nobody. That Jesus made somebody because of my testimony. A lot of people know my music, but I tell them that my testimony will always be louder than my music, because of the fact that there are some people that could turn off my music if they don't like it. They could lower it down. But you see, my testimony, I'm the only one that could spoil that. And my testimony is one that, being a young man growing up in a community like this, where they would call the ghetto, and having a story that, my dad was hooked on drugs, mom mentally ill, so I was adopted from 14 years old. Wow. And growing up in Ghana, it wasn't easy, to be, boy, your mother mad, your father's a piper. A man will rub it in your face. You have to learn to be tough from a very tender age, and I thank God that, to make the long story short, I live to see the day that I found myself in Christ. Yes. And when I found myself is when I really discovered my gifts, right? And through that I realized that, hey, that God bless man, and a lot of the people that used to tell me all kind of hurtful things, those are the people you'll see in my video, those are the people you'll see really supporting me. And what I thank God for is I live to see that the best revenge is success. True. And more so success in Christ. So yeah. So
Jaron, we have seen so much from you in regards to the musical sphere, and one of your latest songs, I mean, we talk about what is happening in Trinidad, especially the attack on women. I know you have been talking about verbally through your social media pages and through your latest song. Tell me a bit about that, and what would have been that sort of direction that would take you into that?
Well, what really jerked me to do a song like that, that's Justice, was riding on the heels of what happened with Ashanti Riley. But not just that. I realized if there's one thing I love to look at is cultures. So like when God blessed me to go to another country, is different cultures. And one thing I observe about our culture in Trinidad is topics only last 48 hours. So alright, this thing with Ashanti, yeah, she missing, alright, I find the person, they speak about that for 2 days, 3 days, and then on to the next. Yes. So even in the song I mentioned stuff like that, and I highlighted, like a mom that would, you feel your family because you didn't do a background check on the guy you met, and you feel your family when you give your pedophile the house key. And I always love to be relevant, touch on things, not for the fact to trend, but to get the point across easier. Because I tell people I'm not the type, I'm not here to be anybody's favorite artist. I have love at home. My wife loves me, mommy loves me, my dad passed, he really loves me. And I'm not here to be your favorite. I'm just here to get the point across, and I realize that when something is trending, is much easier to get that point across.
And especially what is happening now with Andrea Bharatt, that too is also a heart-wrenching as well too, coming out of a similar situation, just like what Justice was focusing on Ashanti Riley. So we are here in Carenage. Tell me something. This community, everywhere we go, realize everyone appreciate the Jesus youth. Tell me, I mean, how has been becoming who you are in this community? How has that been for you, especially among the many other sporting stars and people who have been successful coming out of this village?
Well, I thank God for that, because I try my hand at everything. A little bit of badness, a little bit of football, and what I love and admire about this community they will tell you plain. If you're fake, you're fake. They wouldn't put water in your mouth, just like growing up, your mother mad, your mother mad. They wouldn't put water in your mouth to tell you. But what I love is that they had the opportunity to see me as a young man in both spheres of life, doing good and doing bad. And I thank God that because of how I deal with them, because a lot of people back then would have been like, I still get questions as how come I'm so close, like Prince Swan and they guys like my friends. But some people will be like, how come you be with them fellas and them and you know what they're doing? But what I tell people, if I have something that I want to give you, I can stay away from you to give you, you know? So I just try to be myself, be the best version of me that I can be, and it's only Jesus could help me be that. So yeah, so they see me for what it is. As you were speaking earlier, what you see here is what you see home. I don't pretend or anything, and thank God for that, because I show them respect, I show them love, and that's why I get into love and respect.
We have seen with a lot of the industry affected a lot, especially the music industry per se. How have you been coping with that? Because I know a lot of people may ask the question, you know, there are no concerts, there are no shows, there are no, you know, how are you been coping with that?
Well, it's a tough time because, you know, COVID is not something we was ever prepared for. But what I thank God for, you see that thing called gift. God bless me with a gift, and it's not just music. Bless me with a gift to speak, bless me with a gift to advertise. And through that, I just diverted in other avenues where, like, I started to push the brand a little more Jesus Youth, dropping prices because it's a godly brand and it's a blessing to see people wear it. So I brought in like chains and stuff, and I dropped the prices because I understand that people going through as well. And then he blessed me with this new thing called Uncommon Rides. He blessed me with a boat and jet ski rides and stuff like that. And I just kept pushing it, you know. So I wouldn't lay back and say, boy, it's tough times, and well, I understand that God blessed me with a gift to advertise, because that's all I was doing for the youth. I just try to advertise that hey, Christianity is not a boring thing. You could serve Christ and have an icy bath and drive fast on the water. It has no speed limit on the water. So I just enjoy my life, and that's what I do, advertise. So that's why I've been doing advertising my businesses, and thank God. But I must admit, it's been tough. It's been tough, but bless God still.
So tell me something. You talk about the diversification. I mean, people would be now questioning, what is Jaron diversifying into?
Well, as I say, I have the brand, Jesus Youth, and then no, I'm still a gospel minister, and that's the thing. So even when you see me, do I wear different hats? I have the same hat.
Of course.
Different hats, but same hat.
Yes.
Right? So even when you see me out on the waters with the Uncommon Rides business, you know, it's love. It's love. I will encourage you. I'll find ways to tell you about Christ once we get one-on-one, because that's what has worked for me, and that's what been keeping me. And if something worked for me, I could only pass it on to you. This is what has worked for me, so I just want to tell people about what has worked for me.
Yes, indeed. So, Jaron, we have seen so much from you regarding your work. What's in store now? I mean, because we're into 2021 now, and I believe some of the music seasons will start back. You know, what new can we see coming out from your music, especially, which is sometimes message to music?
Yeah. I have a song called Gunman. That's been I'm minding that song for about 3 years now, and it's just it's like a question here for a gunman. There's a next one called Jesus Fever. So it's basically what's going on now with the COVID, how we have to check my temperature to go in the church. So it's basically that kind of vibe where I tell them, yeah, pardon my temperature kind of high, because really on fire for the Most High. So that kind of vibe, a kind of jolly soca, which is on one of those soca rhythms that release. So I still with the music, because the truth is that is my gift as well, and that's really the main gift that God blessed me with, which is the music and gift of lyrics and stuff. So I'll never pull away from that. But whereas you used to just do everything around this, you know, because you could have spent time with this because this was sustaining you. It's not like that right now, so you have to do other things, but I will never pull away from the main me the main reason for me being here, which is the gift that God blessed me to tell people about.
Just a question, Jesus Youth. Where did that come from? Because, sometimes I'm traversing across the country, I might see a Jesus Youth sweater, a Jesus Youth jersey. Tell me, where did that come from?
Jesus Youth is a gift from God. Like, that's one thing Corona just hurt me. I wish I could have seen my smile when he asked me that question. Right? It's a gift from God. This Jesus Youth was actually a song. I'm talking about the ghetto. Ghetto life ain't not easy. Lord, give me 3 minutes, let me tell you where I come from. From a place where the youth them love gun. If they end up in an altercation, could end up in the police station. But my first concert in 2017, I did jerseys with Jesus Youth. And all sold out. And people asked for more, and I just couldn't get more. I didn't understand. I couldn't get more. People want, I know it was sell out because the first set sell out. I just couldn't get it. And then about a year or two ago when we did Fed Up, the Flavani was like, I was asking him, well, what to wear? Because this is my first video, I don't like videos at all. And all of a sudden I just feeling like I should do a video. I said, well, what to wear, boy? He said, why don't you have that brand? Because he remembered when I gave him one from the first event. He said, well, do that, print that, and and I remember when we post the teaser, he posted a picture, both of us just pointing on the old shipwreck. People just started ordering. And I would be a fool to not go and get it for them. If there was something I had to go and get first. So I went and I got it for them, and from that, Jesus Youth is history. So much blessings to the Flavani as well.
Yeah, man. Expression House Media, man.
Yeah.
Jaron, it's a pleasure, being in Carenage here. You're showing us around, carrying us to where your boat, your jet ski. Seeing the community life, seeing what Carenage is like, and from your eyes and seeing the love that is here. Sometimes, it have negative connotations, but, Jaron has been someone who, from what I've seen in the community, has, sort of an exemplar, someone who people look up to, and a lot of the youngsters look up to and have a lot of respect, and the older persons in the community admire. So, now we're going to go on to the next part of the interview. We're going to go across with Michael. Michael's going to spend a little time with Jaron in the studio where he's going to work on Justice, do a recording for Justice, a song which speaks about what is actually happening in Trinidad, where we have to try as citizens to protect our women and protect especially our young women, when they are out there. And this song literally transcends coming out of Ashanti Riley's murder. And now we are in a similar situation where we are seeing another young lady missing for the past few days. So let's go.
The villagers them say them need some love, can't find justice, so another one gone in memory of. Well, I must be hungry and frustrated because of you, my sister, never make it. Well, go and study your income, so now look what's the outcome. Just another idiot, give a rapper man a car to walk without checking up. Well, boy, you fail your community, and when you give another rapper man a taxi. So look at what I want with Ashanti Riley. Oh, it's not easy. These days it's hard. Yeah. When blood a run red, down a Trinidad where the thing get dread. Put another lasso around them by them head. Place I get dread, children them scared. No one to be spared. Why run down bread? Because of you a little sister gone and dead. Don't make that mistake again, now we beg. Don't make that money thing get to your head. Cause I got some sisters and some nieces them too, but down at Trinidad a justice long overdue. When people see the crime but them not come forward, and down at Trinidad topics last 48 hours. When mommy introduced her daughter to stepdad.
Alright, Jaron, thanks for the little acapella. We're here in Carenage still. Otto did the first half of the interviews, and as usual I'm doing the second half. Jaron, this is a very deep message, a very interesting song that you're singing. I know you touched with Otto in his first part of the interview in terms of the song and where it came from. But just to go dive a little bit deeper, what was the inspiration for this song?
Well, the whole inspiration for the song was the whole ordeal with Ashanti Riley. And what really affected me at that time is only when this thing happened, that's when we learned the history of the guy. You know, and I'd say I didn't just want to focus on the guy that did the perpetrator of the crime, but those that assisted him in ways that they didn't even realize. So if you know someone, he have a previous rape or man record, for the want of a better way to say it, and you give him a taxi to work, I think you're assisted in some way. You know, you're supported in some way. You know, but as much as it could get technical, the whole point of it was saying, you know, do a little background check. In the second verse of the song, I focused on a mom who would meet this guy and fall in love. You know, searching for love and comfort. But then you give a pedophile a house key because you didn't do no background search and you didn't check his history. And only then and then we realized that, hey, the guy that you thought was on you was really on your child.
Before we move forward, guys, if you're liking the content here on InspireTT, make sure and share that video. You know, we're trying to get and plant seeds in minds to inspire some people out there. Anyway, Jaron,
InspireTT, be the change.
Be the change. We want to be the change. I mean, I'll go a little personal too. I mean, our family, my close-knit family, we had a similar incident in the recent past. And I get what you're saying in terms of if you see something, say something.
Yeah.
It's very important. Too many times as communities, we see things that we don't want to get involved. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Sometimes, well, now is the time, I think, for us to see something, say something. At least if you don't have the power to do something, you find somebody who could get involved.
Who has the power
What
to
would
do
be your advice for other members of society out there who see things happening and they say, nah boy, not me, I don't want to get involved in that? What do you tell them?
Well, that you just support the crime. As much as it mightn't seem as though, yes, and then through that, this is a touchy topic where it will arise, like, you know, so who to trust? We can't speak to the police. There's always that one person that you could tell. There's always that one person that you could trust, you know, and yeah.
And I know, coming from your background and certain things that you sing about, what do you say also too for the mindset for people out there who might be harsh and don't understand what forgiveness is all about? What do you tell people in order for them to understand forgiveness aspect of it too as well?
Well, forgiveness is a tough pill, especially in situations like these. So that's why at the end of the song, you know, as much as I expressed myself in the first part, in the end I did like a spoken word speech stating that, you know what, at the end of the day, let God be the judge. Let Him serve justice. So too many times we just want to be the one to serve justice, and when situations like this get involved, emotions tend to take the better of us. So like for instance, right now this Andrea Bharatt thing, I found myself saying certain things like, boy, you should send me to deal with these to torture these men, and I sure will get information, but that's not my role. I'm not qualified to do that. That's just emotions talking. So in times like these, and what was good, what really blessed me in this whole project, because every song I do is not normally, I don't just sing a song. I did research and was going back and forth with the family. So Ashanti sister, I remember one time I called her for some other footage, and I said, sis, like, let me just ask you a question, right? So, because it's not just about the song or getting the video out there, I want to know about everything. I said, y'all forgive that guy, like, be honest with me. And she said, Jaron, honestly, I searched myself, I talked to God, and I was talking to my mom about the same thing, and we forgive. And that put me in check, because at that time, I don't think I did forgive the man, you know. I like to be honest, as a Christian, I like to be honest. At that time, I think I didn't forgive him, and I realized that, wait, now somebody who's closer to the situation than you already forgive, so who's you?
Why I mentioned that too as well, a lot of the times we react for a lot of negative situation and we don't find that forgiveness. And we move forward in life and we realize that affects us moving forward. And that's because we didn't genuinely understand what forgiveness really means. And I noticed that you put that in the ending of every song because I thought that was an important part for the society to understand forgiveness. But you also say we want justice. How important is justice in situations like this for you?
Well, that's why there's the law. You know, but too many times we just try to become the law, and we just want to serve justice. But in this case, justice is important because justice is what does restrict, and penalties is what does restrict us from really doing some of the crazy things we think at times. So that'll always be important. That'll always be an integral part of life.
Yeah.
You know, the law will always be an integral part, so that'll always remain important.
I know you spoke about it in Otto's interview a little bit earlier on, and if you want, you could replay the clip. I mean, this is evergreen content you're looking at here on InspireTT. I know you spoke about it in Otto's interview. As a youth man, grew up in the Carenage area and having a particular background that people would normally stigmatize. What was that change factor, or what was that factor in your own mind personally that you say, you know what, I want to be a youth representing Jesus. I want to be somebody different. I want to be the change agent in my community. What was that moment for you?
That moment for me, I remember one time, I did some real crazy stuff, but all along I would see God hand upon my life. Like things where I was supposed to get arrested for, God will always just pull through right on time. Like real crazy stuff. I remember this one time, I stabbed a guy in his face. To this day, we are good friends. But I was supposed to be penalized, and then God just coming right on time. You know, and next time I was selling marijuana, and this time my mom had a dream. And I hid the marijuana in my bag, and she had a dream with handcuffing man, and the Spirit of God directed her to go and search my bag, and she found the marijuana. And that day there, she really waked me up to, that was like 3 o'clock in the morning, she waked me up to kill me. You know, my mother find weed in your bag is problems. But I could have fainted, boy, so she didn't have to comfort me, and she asked me, well, where you get that? So I explained to her, so, well, I just give a guy called BD to get it from her, because everybody know my mother in Carenage, Sister Jenny, the church woman. I can't go and buy no weed, and that amount of weed. So I get BD to buy it from her, and when I go back to school, I'll get a guy called George to sell it for me and stuff like that. And as of that day, I saw God hand in it, because where I hide that, it couldn't be normal. That couldn't be normal. No normal person will go and find that. It's God direct that lady to find that there. And to make a long story short, the guy that used to sell it for me, the guy that used to buy it for me in Carenage, he's in prison for murder. The guy that used to sell it for me, he's murdered. So we don't need no rocket scientists, as I say, to determine what would have been my fate. But all along, I've been seeing God hand upon my life. All along, I see that even though I was walking bad, Jesus was still walking good with me. You know, and I had no other choice but to give it all. And say, boy, yeah, what's going on? I didn't plan to be no singer. I didn't like singing and stuff like that. I was disrespectful to my choir director. I got you out of the choir. I always wanted to be a footballer. When it's growing up, I want to be a professional footballer. But then God just sent me this avenue.
Jaron, I appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate that you trust the InspireTT team to give your personal story to as well. One of the big things for us, Otto and myself, we being news gatherers for such a long time, over 10 years, maybe more. We see the society has changed, and we're becoming a very negative and very violent society. And it's very interesting. Our slogan for InspireTT is to be the change, and we see that you are the change in your community, but you action that change within yourself. Be it the hand of God, be it whatever circumstances, you were smart enough or reason enough that, you know what, I had to change in order for me to be the change. And that was one of the things that pushed us to start the InspireTT program.
I must say I love this initiative, because I often tell people that positivity is not often highlighted. And to see that your guys working with a particular station that will quite and quick to push you all to cover a negative story, because that's what really selling. That's what people want to hear. And to see that the same guys that people will allow to do that, you all will come together and do something else. I consider that to be a blessing, and I pray many blessings on InspireTT. I pray it continue to grow and touch and transform as you all continue to be the change.
Jaron, we appreciate your blessing. Otto, myself, I should speak for Otto because he's behind the camera right now. But we take your blessing, and it is important because we're realizing more now. If you're fed a particular digest, especially in terms of content, that's what you get to expect.
Correct.
And Trinidad is so much more culture, so much more experiences. But going back to the music, you have a particular style and a particular song. How will you describe that style and song that you...
Uncommon.
Yeah.
I call it uncommon because I'm just not the type to just sing a song.
Yeah.
I've never wrote a song, and so most times I would listen to rhythm, I connect with rhythm, I'll come and sing. So right in the same studio, the producer outside, Shady Beats, he played our instrumental for me that day, and I just started singing, and that's how we got the song One More. That continue to get love, bless God for that. So I call it uncommon. Once my spirit connect with something, yeah, I could go through with it.
And what do you say are the where you draw inspiration in terms of your music? Because I hear dancehall, I hear reggae, I hear...
Well, the good thing about it, I tell people gospel music is not a genre. So it's rock gospel, rap gospel, soca gospel, reggae gospel. It's not a genre, but it's the message, and though the methods might change, the message of Jesus or the message that we carry will never change. But where I get a lot of inspiration from, I would say, is life. Sometimes I'll be walking down the road and sometimes I have a conversation with people and wait, there's a whole song right there, and that is how it got me.
I remember going back to the music too as well. My final question before we look to end the interview. Why stamp on your music Justice for Trinidad? Why put in that part, that lyric? Because I noticed when I was listening to the song, you made it into Justice and then Justice for Trinidad.
Oh, when blood I run red, don't at Trinidad where the thing get jet. Because Trinidad lately, like, we often not careful about what we say. And your tongue carry a lot of power. The Bible tell you about how powerful your tongue could be. And lately we've been labeling everything as Trinidad, especially when it comes to music. And things really started getting a little bad. And it started getting dread. So I was like, down at Trinidad, it already getting dread. Blood done running red. It's not just, I just, in those few words I was just trying, but how I really felt, that people wouldn't really grasp is, all right, we're already struggling with gun violence. And it looked as though that we getting this together, we had a little unity between the gangs. Now we having a next problem, because at that time it wasn't just Ashanti, she was the only one that passed away. Yeah. But it was a problem that started to grow. And as we could see, we still seeing the evidence of that problem. So it was from that perspective where down Trinidad, where it done dread already, blood done running red. Now we had to focus on a new thing. And it was just to bring awareness. I tried to reach out to certain people because and still have a lot of ideas to bring awareness around this particular topic. But again, once God bless you with something, in due time it will unfold.
Jaron, and I know I said that was a final question, and this might be my final question. I notice you're similar to a Calypsonian, and you sing about a lot of issues and a lot of things that happen in society and a lot of things that directly affect you. Why is that so important for you and your message and for who Jaron is?
Because I believe as an artist, you're called to shine light on certain situations. That is what it's all about. Even as a gospel artist, I would shine light on situations, modern situations, but with a biblical reference or something like that. And that's what it's all about. I believe that is what your role as an artist is, to bring awareness, and as a gospel artist, will not more so to bring awareness and touch lives, transform lives. That's why sometimes I'd be like, whoa, when I listen to some of these modern songs, I'd be like, this is what coming out of Trinidad now, boy. That could never be equivalent to what used to happen before. Yeah. I'm not discrediting anybody, craft or anything, but nowhere in the world could put and compose songs like those old-time Calypsonians, and the way the ideas they would bring, those double meaning songs. So yeah.
Yeah. And then closing the interview now, what would be your words of advice for people who may be in your situation a negative space in their life and they want to change into that positive space and they don't know what to do, who to go to, where to start?
Well, the first good thing about that problem is when you realize that you need to change. Because we have a lot of people out there that live in their life and they didn't realize that they need to change. The gauge not working, the check light didn't come on yet. You know?
Yeah.
And if you didn't realize, well, your gauge down, you will try to go further and then you reach further than where you need to top up. Right? So you reach further away from assistance. So the first good thing is acknowledge that you need to change. Acknowledge also that you can't do it on your own. It's only Jesus could help me. It's Jesus help me. That's what has worked for me, so I could only tell you.
If you have members of the audience here who want to listen to your music or understand your style, where they could go to?
YouTube, Jaron Nurse. I pray that something there would be a blessing. And not just Jaron Nurse, there about a whole heap of other gospel ministers that you could listen to. So even if I not been a blessing to you, that somebody there would be a blessing. That positive, that the Flavor, EJ Prince, Blessed Messenger. We have a new one who some might know, Jovitan. You know? And have somebody there waiting to be a blessing to you, because clearly I understand it's not about me. It's all about getting you to know more about Jesus.
And with that, Jaron, I want to say thanks. Thanks for joining us here on InspireTT. If your check engine light came on, you could be the change. As Jaron was saying, not all circumstances remain in a negative light all the time. You have to find that power and that inner guiding light within yourself to be able to change and to move forward. This was a very interesting topic. I know it was a little bit touchy in certain aspects. I know we would be stepping on a few people's toes with this particular topic, but it's necessary for us as young men too, as well in society, to start and have these kind of conversations. InspireTT, our main mission is to be the change and to show that there are people out there who are thinking about positive and trying to be the light like yourself, Jaron. You've been doing an excellent job, I think, in my opinion.
All credit to Jesus.
So when I listened to the song and when Otto forward that interview too as well, it was a very interesting song. But if you like the content here on InspireTT, continue to share. We want to build a community. We want to build our little InspireTT tribe. Check for the videos. You could refer to the InspireTT Facebook page too as well for content that you may have missed. You will get it there. Once again, thank you, Jaron. Thanks for Otto for being behind the camera to facilitate the interview.
Thanks for having me as well.
Guys, make sure and look out for the new content. Take care. Bye.
You see, sometimes in the streets, it could be real hard to turn the other cheek. But let's focus on those that saw something and didn't speak. Cause you see that mess that you failed to address just might put someone, somebody, some child under some kind of stress. And then you want to be the first to say, hang him, kill him, hang she, they deserve to die. But all the while, you've been a silent witness. But you know one thing I notice? That we serve a God of forgiveness. So to preserve me from bitter unforgiveness, I will forgive, but let the law serve justice. I cannot be a silent witness. So once I see something, I will say something. If I see something, say something. If I see something,